Hey Dino, it's very nice to have you on this conference. So yeah, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks very much. It's very nice to be here also. Of course, my name is Dino Metaxas, and I am the head of digital acceleration for ŻABKA. I think everybody is very much knows ŻABKA and the group and all of the amazing things that we're doing. I've been with the company for it's been about 8 months now. Prior to that, I was working in the alcohol and spirits for Pernod Ricard for 10 years in Pernod Ricard. I spent 3 years in Poland, 5 years in Africa, in RPA, but responsible for all of Africa, and then 3 years in the UK, and I was responsible for all of our digital acceleration across the globe in travel retail. So I did a lot of traveling in Asia. 70% of our business was Asia-based, so I spent a lot of time in Asia, selling alcohol to travelers. So everything pretty much that we sold duty free was my role, and of course in the digital world. So yeah, click and collect and e-commerce, etc.
Yes, it's impressive. It sounds like you have a great experience from many markets, and also ŻABKA is very progressing and advancing on the Polish market. So let's start with the first question about the walled gardens. What's the closed ecosystem for you, and what's the walled garden? What's behind that term?
Yeah, I think of course there's going to be similar answers across multiple speakers. Simply speaking, a walled garden, you can relate very closely to the GAFAs, the Google, the Amazon, the Facebook, and the Apples of the world, and we look at them as being closed wall gardens. At the end of the day, I think the big question is this the future? Is this the direction that we want to see ourselves going in? Do we want to share data across the ecosystem, or do we want to close ourselves within a wall garden? And I think you're going to see different answers across different speakers, depending on where you are as a business, right? How big your business? What are you offering as a business? If you want to be a wall garden, then I think you need to have tens of millions of consumers, right? So what is your product? What are your products like? What are your services? And then you take it from there. For me, it's going to be slightly different with ŻABKA and the way we see the strategy, or the way we're building the strategy today. I'll talk a little bit, I think, more about that in the next questions.
Yeah. So we know that the walled garden is all about the surrounding customers with the value, like knowing a lot about them and just surrounding them. So what do you think? How you can, as a brand, build this closed ecosystem? How you can fence the customers with the walled garden?
Well, I think that's again a great question, and it all starts with understanding your consumer. At the end of the day, who's your consumer? Who's your shopper? What kind of data are we collecting on our shoppers? I always give a very kind of simple example to everybody, and even my teams. I think today we collect a lot of data across the ecosystem. So we're collecting, as ŻABKA, we're collecting mounds and mounds of consumer data. We have 6 million consumers across the ŻABKA app using it on a regular basis. We have millions of consumer shoppers going into our stores on a daily basis, and we collect tons of data. So data is great. At the end of the day, I think the challenges that marketers face today is how do we take that data? How do we read the data? How do we take that data into really valuable information? And how do we transform that information then into strategy and action? And I think that is the biggest challenge, or some of the largest challenges that marketers face today. AI still doesn't give us everything. It's not the holy grail. It doesn't give us the answers to everything. We still need to look at the data. Unfortunately, as marketers, we need to deep dive. We need to look at that data, and then we need to make conscious decisions based on what we have. So for me and my teams, it's about pulling out what are the most important pieces that we need to look at, and how do we action those important pieces. And again, it's not easy. I think it's an extremely difficult task that we face today as marketers, is really taking all of that data and actioning it. So
Yeah, and on the very beginning, you mentioned about the GAFA, like, big brands that really create a walled garden for many of our brands. But so do you think it's still a space for the new brands to create their own ecosystem? It's not too late for the many brands?
So, you know what, so this is kind of what I mentioned earlier, ŻABKA, are we big enough to be a walled garden? Do we want to be? At the end of the day, we're in Poland. We're a massive brand. I mentioned we have 6 million consumers within the ecosystem. But is that the future of marketing? I strongly believe in the fact that the future of marketing and the future of ŻABKA is about collaboration. How do we collaborate with data, with different partners within or without, within the ecosystem or outside of the ecosystem? And not everybody's a Google consumer. Well, I would like not to think that everybody is. Almost everybody, but okay. Let's take Asia out of the picture.
Yeah, like a Google app reseller.
So, but not everybody purchases on Amazon. Not everybody's on Facebook. Not everybody's on Apple. And how do you really provide real value to consumers? You're going to do that by sharing data, right? So especially like ŻABKA. So not everybody's a ŻABKA consumer. We only have, or we have as much as, or only, depends on how you look at it, 6 million real active consumers on the app on a daily basis. Now, is that enough to be a walled garden? Do you want to be a walled garden? I don't think that's the right answer to the question. For us, and strategically, it's more about collaboration and partnerships. And that is the future, that is the strategic future in the direction that we're taking as ŻABKA, to go beyond just a retail app, but how do we build value with consumers across experiences and services, a little bit of secret sauce that I can't talk about at the moment, but we're definitely going to be doing something that's amazing in the future. But the focus is on collaboration and partnerships. Really, really important from a data perspective, right? So it's taking us out of the walled garden. I don't want us to be a walled garden. I want us to work and collaborate and give benefits to to other companies in collaborating with us, which at the end of the day give benefit to our consumers, right? The people that are the most important, our shoppers, consumers.
That's a very interesting point of view, because sometimes you can think that your brands stay outside the fence of the walled garden, and you condense it. So do you have any advice for the brands who just started thinking in that ecosystem manner? Like, what can be advice if they stuck beyond the fabulous garden?
I think the advice is, at the end of the day, depends on who you are as a company. What is the service? What is the product that you want to offer? That, I think, is the core. And if you want to be within a walled garden, you really need to have an audience, and you need to have a really large audience, and you need to have products and services that are answering to a lot of different consumer needs. I mean, for me, one thought, just to how much more time do we have? I don't see a timer.
I think it's 2 minutes.
2 minutes. For me, I would leave everybody with this thought. So are walled gardens the future of marketing, or should we as marketers and regulators look at the opportunity of data sharing across ecosystems? Today, a lot of the times it's regulators, that are causing a lot of the challenges. Can we share data? How do we share data, et cetera, et cetera? But eventually, how do we deliver? It's all about delivering relevant and timely information to our consumers across multiple channels. And that is kind of the holy grail. Can we do it alone? Can we do it within a walled garden? I don't know. I think the future will tell us that. For me and ŻABKA, the strategy is partnerships, and that's how we're partnerships and innovations, and that's really how we're going to drive value in the long term.
Amazing. It was very nice to have you on our conference. Thanks very much for your answers.
Thank you very much. It was very nice to meet you, and we'll talk once again soon, I'm sure.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.